Hey guys, welcome back to Dad's Garage. Today we got something a little bit different for you. Today we're going to go through the process of how I make my ribs. It's Saturday and we like to barbecue on Saturday, so I'm going to make some ribs, and as I'm doing it, we'll talk about the razor and I'll give you my 2 cents worth and so-called review over the last 200 miles. So let's get started. We like to keep our ribs real simple. We buy them at Costco in a 3-pack, and we just bring them home, pull off the silver skin, trim up the ends, and then freeze them separately in vacuum bags. Baby back ribs, it's the easiest way to go for us. We like them, they're always meaty and delicious. Um, I don't like traditional yellow mustard, it's just not my thing. So I always use some sort of spicy brown mustard. Today we've got horseradish mustard, which is really good if you haven't tried that. I just put some on as a binder. It's not really needed. I just like it. Doesn't really take a whole lot. It's just something for the seasoning to stick to, but like I said, it will stick to it by itself. But ribs are simple. You don't have to get fancy with them. Anything pork is really forgiving on the barbecue. Um, we use a Traeger smoker. It's been great for us. About 5 years in on the Traeger, and I've never had one problem with it. So highly recommended Traeger. But like I said, it doesn't really matter what you're using as long as you like it. And then I use Meat Church Holy Voodoo for my ribs and most of my pork stuff. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit heat. Mostly salt and pepper with something to make it good. They don't really tell you exactly what's in it, of course. Go heavy on ribs. They cook a long time, so it takes a while, and you get good flavor. Eat the sides. Most definitely not a how-to barbecue channel. Not really a how-to anything channel, to be honest. Try to get it covered as best as possible. You're always going to miss spots. Not much you can do about it. And that's that. That's how I prep them. I'll put these on the smoker at 250 and let them go for a couple hours, and then we'll check in on them and see how they're doing. But yeah, ribs are simple. Doesn't have to be complicated. Not hard to do. Once you have your ribs seasoned, or pork butt, or whatever it is that you're cooking, as far as pork goes, I usually try to let the seasoning adhere about 15 minutes before I put them on the smoker. It seems to give a little bit better bark and lets the sugars kind of start melting away and dries out the skin of the ribs so you get more smoke. Works good for me. Like I said, it's not a barbecue channel. I am by no means a professional barbecuer. I like what I cook, and that's all that really matters. Barbecue should be fun. Not doing it professionally or anything. Like I promised, we'll talk about the razor, things we like and don't like. Things I don't like is the price of the razor, but that's what everybody doesn't like about the razor. Um, I did have a couple issues with kind of fit and finish type stuff. When you buy something new, like a new car, a new razor, new bike, any of those things, you expect it to be put together well. I've already lost 3 of the T40 Torx. Kind of bolts the whole things together. Nothing that's been crucial, but like just body panels loose. This air intake up here was loose, so I had to get new bolts. And then I went around and checked all of them, and probably found 10 of them that were loose. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a shame on Polaris or whoever puts these things together. I feel like they're mostly assembled when they arrive at the dealership. So something to look forward to, and it's probably something I should have watched out for. I guess when you buy anything that's got moving parts, there's a good chance that something didn't get tightened down or something's going to get loose. But we haven't really driven it that much. I think we're at like 8 hours and just a hair over 200 miles. So I was kind of disappointed to find a bunch of loose bolts. But other than that, everything seems to be put together well. All the plastic panels fit together really well. Um, so it's pretty good in that aspect. Um, we were really surprised at how incredibly smooth it is. This is not the Ultimate; it's just the premium, so it's got the regular Walker Evans shocks on it. But it's incredibly smooth. We keep pushing it harder and harder through like the whoops and the dips and stuff, and it's been surprisingly, we've always been surprised at how much you don't feel, and how forgiving it is. With that, it handles amazingly. You can go around corners just about as fast as you're wanting to go around a corner. The drawback with the handling, I think, is mostly the tires. This has the Maxxis Rampage Fury tires on it, which seem to be wearing horribly. Like I said, 200 miles in, and I can already tell that the back tires are down maybe an eighth of an inch already in wear. I'm not an aggressive driver. I don't spin them a whole bunch, so I think that they're just a really soft compound, which makes sense for traction. They don't have much lateral hold either, so if you go around a corner at anything over 10 or 15 miles an hour, the back will kick out, even if you're not giving it gas or trying to slide on purpose. So I'll probably be upgrading to something different, do some research and figure out what's a good tire. If anybody knows or has any suggestions on what they like, certainly let us know in the comments below. We live out in the desert, so we're mostly sandy trails, rocky trails, that kind of thing. So that's what we're looking for. The only complaints you have are things that you have with any kind of off-road vehicle. It's loud, dusty, but with that is fun. You can't go out in the desert and not be loud and dusty. So those are probably good things and bad things. I haven't had any complaints. Like I said, nothing's really gone wrong with it. Everything runs perfectly. We've driven it far enough to break in the belts. Everything's really broken in. They say you're not supposed to push them hard until 24 hours of driving, but I don't really understand why, but I'll try to stick to that. But 24 hours of driving is a long time if you think about it. Like, how long do you want to be in your car driving? You could probably drive from Arizona to Washington and back in 24 hours. I don't know. That's probably wrong. I'm sure somebody will Google that really quickly and tell me. For now, that's all I've got to say about that. We will get these ribs on the smoker. I'll put them on in about 10 minutes or so. I'm not going to bore you with a trip to the smoker and looking at the smoker. That you guys can see that on any old video, because this isn't really about that. It's just something I was doing and wanted to share. All right, back on the ribs. So I ended up doing these at 225 rather than the 250 I said I was going to do. I had more time than I thought I did. These have been on there for about 3 hours. They got a nice color to them. They're about 175 degrees internally right now, which is where you're going to be if you're going to wrap. If you're not going to wrap, it doesn't really matter. Let it go. I don't overcomplicate this at all. Just going to put some pads of butter on here. Add fat to fat, makes it taste better. I'm going to put some honey down the middle of that just to give it a little bit of moisture and a little bit of sugar. There's quite a bit of pepper in that rub we put on there earlier. And then we just wrap these up and back on the smoker to go. Not that hard. 225 again. Probably another 2 hours until they're pliable and super tender. Everybody eats the ribs a little bit differently. We like ours more done than most folks. I don't like to fight with them to get them off the bone, so almost fall off the bone, but not quite is the way I do it. That's how I like it. See you back in a couple hours. All right, guys, back on the ribs. This is what we ended up with. About 30 minutes ago, I took them off, unwrapped them, added some sauce to them. The sauce, I used this firecracker sauce, and I added a little sriracha to it to give them some heat. The wife and kids don't like sauce so much, so I get a couple off this end, or I just left with the rub. Overall, it took about 5 hours, 3 hours in the smoke and 2 hours wrapped up, and then about 20 minutes once we put the sauce on them. They look delicious. Can't wait to eat them. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I like to barbecue a lot. I like to play in the garage a lot, so thought I'd put the two together. So hopefully you like this, and I'll be able to do more of it with barbecue and talking about the toys. I think I can't stress it enough that life is more than about having things and doing things. It's about doing things with things that you have, with your family, with your friends, having a good time. So go out there, have a good time with your friends, get out there, enjoy the nature, cook some good food, enjoy it with your friends and family. Makes life better, makes life whole lot easier. It makes working those 50, 60, 70-hour weeks worth the time if you can get done with that and say goodbye to that and then have a good time with your friends. Make those memories. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I always appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And then the last thing I want to leave you with here is I saw this story about these two peanuts that were walking down the street and one got assaulted. It's terrible. Thanks for watching.